Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 224 of Kouryer podcast. Our today's guest is Mr. Ede Laszlo. He's a senior environment concept artist at Terraform Studios, which we'll talk about it in the podcast as well, from Budapest, Hungary. And of course, before we get into the questions in the for contact section of the captions, you can find the ID to his Instagram account and also the link to his art session if you want to get more, in depth, look at his projects and pieces. And yes, if you guys remember, from episode 223, I was sick. And episode 223 and 22 was recorded yesterday, which was May 12th. Now, today is a new day, and, my voice, I think, is a bit changed. And it's May 13th. And fun fact, from episode 224, 25, 26, 27, all these episodes are going to be recorded today. So if you see me with the same shirt, it's not that I don't take care of myself. It's just they're all happening today. Just thought I'd let you guys know. And yeah, let's see how my voice actually progresses by the end of the night. It really gets better, of course. All right. So how are you doing today, man? Thanks for coming by.
Doing good.
By the way.
Doing good, awesome. Man.
All right. So the original question, the initial question I ask everyone is give us a little introduction on how we got into the world of visual arts and design. Basically, tell us your origin story of how you became an artist, basically.
Yeah, so for me, it started with a video game, basically. It was StarCraft Brood War. Back in the days it came out, and I was absolutely obsessed with it. And it's just, I don't know, I didn't even know what game that was back then. I was just copying the splash art from... I remember I had those little cell phones, like the 2 by 3 centimeter displays, and I was zooming in and copying the splash art from that. And I already knew then that I think this was in 7th or 8th grade, and I already knew that I want to work at Blizzard when I grow up or something like that. So I mean, nobody believed it. It was like, dude, you live in a small country, a small town. You just become a teacher, an art teacher or something like that. Just don't. That's not an obtainable goal. I mean, originally I'm coming from Transylvania. I'm living in Budapest right now, but I'm coming from Romania. And but I was like, man, I don't care. I just wanna make cool stuff. So originally I started to become an architect because that is somewhat like designing, I like buildings. I mean, I'm still an environment guy. And but down the road I saw that it's not really that free, it's like you got to do a lot of numbers and like statistics and all that. So I found this school from Darek Zabrodsky called Focal Point School in Poland. And I took a gap year before going to university because everybody wanted me to go to university. My family. And there I pretty much, I had a couple digital paintings, but I didn't know what concept art was. My plan was there, I want to become a game environment artist. I didn't even know what it was. So there, Darek Zabrodsky, my teacher, and the other teacher, Mikhail Kus, I only took Darek's class because I was poor. I spent all my money on this 1 month trip to Gdynia in Poland, and I just discovered the whole pipeline and how people work. I had zero idea about anything. My luck was that I was together with 2 German people. We went into the same accommodation because, saving money. We're poor people. We're not in the industry. And they knew already stuff about digital painting and 3D and concept art. So I was like, it was an absolute culture shock. I was like listening to them. We were giving feedback to each other. I had a little bit of perspective background, which I could give them, which they didn't have. And they had a little digital background. We were exchanging information. And I think the most important part was this, that I was doing this 24/7. Like, we were at the beach like in a beach city, and we never even went into the water. We were like working like 16 hours for a whole month each day. It was crazy. So after that, I after the whole course, I came back to Hungary and went into university. I thought like graphic design and illustration, animation has something to do with game and movies, like to get into the game design. But I had to realize that nor Hungary or Romania doesn't have like traditional education which would offer this kind of knowledge. I mean, they might have something there, but nobody there is a professional, and they just teaching whatever they can. It's not really viable option. So I quit university after half a year and started freelancing. I mean, I was freelancing before that too. I was doing Fiverr. I was doing some tiny illustrations to get by, because university, you need a little financial support from somewhere. And I just started full-time freelancing after university. And after another year, I got into a Budapest studio called Neocore Games, and I had to move up to Budapest. Before I was in a different town. I'm sorry, the tiny details. So I worked at Neocore Games, actual game development. Before that, I was doing board games and some tiny freelance gigs. Now I was actually in the game dev. This was 4 years ago. And that was fun. I actually saw how the whole pipeline looks like modeling and texturing and putting it in the engine and all that. So it was so fun. And it wasn't like a corporate studio either, so it wasn't like super strict or whatever. You had a lot of artistic freedom. And after 1.5 years or 1 year at Neocore Games, I was found by Pablo Dominguez. He's an art director at Terraform, and I was hired for a crazy project, which I can't talk about, unfortunately. but yeah, the moment when he reached out, I was like, dude, if you hire me now, I was at the studio. If you hire me now, I go up to the CEO right now and I'm quitting. Like I always wanted to work at Terraform. I mean, it wasn't even like a dream, because I didn't think it's an obtainable thing. Like Terraform is not. It's very, very up on the shelf. It's like I wasn't even. I was trying to get into a mid-level studio first, and then jump to something like Terraform or Santa Monica, or one of those one pixel brush bigger outsourced studios. But Terraform was still new then. It was like 1 year old or something like that they started out back then, and I was hired. So, well, a little bit earlier, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, awesome. And how's the experience been at Terraform actually?
It was absolutely crazy. It's the first. I don't have to say that I was nowhere near ready. I don't even know. I was extremely lucky to be hired, because I was hired originally because one of my first posts went viral on ArtStation. That was the first ever post that went viral for me, and Pablo happened to see it. The first half a year was crazy. It was I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot, but it was crazy in a way that like I felt the pressure that I have to catch up, because I was surrounded with like crazy art. I don't know if you know people there. It's like Pablo Dominguez and Pablo Carpio Alexei Polak, and Finian. There are so many crazy artists sitting together, and I just feel like a clown. I don't belong there. I'm just trying to catch up. So the first half a year was, for me, it was like barely sleeping, just working, just trying to get out any information from Pablo, and every kind of like approach to workflows, and anything that could speed me up and give me like a push in like quality. And after half a year, it started to, I think it was more than a year. I mean, closer to a year, like crazy hours. And then it started to sink in. Like I started to have a little bit more organized pipeline and organized workflow. I started to know what I'm doing when I'm going into a concept. I didn't even know how to organize my files back then, because I never had to do that before. My file system is for this one project I've been on in the past, since I'm at Terraform. It's the first couple months is crazy. Like I've been numbering the days each day. I didn't know how to approach organizing files, because I never had to organize this many files before. I was like doing 1 or 2 paintings a week, like a couple concepts here and there for neocore games. It was very chill there compared to Terraform. And so I by time, after like 1 year or something, I started to speed up and get into the project, and a little bit more. I learned to chill a little bit more.
Yeah, I assume that must be necessary, because the imposter syndrome must have been crazy at first when you said you joined.
Yeah.
Right? I was anxious, trying to catch up. You were stressed. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. There's that thing inside of you that doesn't let you enjoy anything. I know.
Yeah. The first 3 months, I don't even think I slept. Like I remember the first day, I was gathering resources and models and everything what I can find online to just try to have a little bit more better kickstart, because the first 3 months or the 1 month is like a probation period. I was absolutely ready to be fired. So I wasn't sleeping. I was just trying to make it. But yeah, after a while, I was lucky to impress Pablo. I got one chance, and yeah.
Yeah, one shot, one opportunity to say everything you ever wanted.
Right.
Yeah, and you did it. Congratulations, man.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, it was a lot of luck put into this whole, like, me getting hired there. I know a guy who I'm not gonna mention, but he was supposed to take my place at when I was hired, but he was too busy, and I was hired instead of him. And it's just thinking about it. If he wasn't busy, I wouldn't be here now.
Well, I mean, I would say, like, yeah, sure, it's kind of like you as well. But if you didn't, like, get that Power Station post viral, you wouldn't even get the opportunity to begin.
Yeah, exactly.
So you couldn't say it's really luck, entirely.
Yeah, but it definitely plays a big part. I think luck when getting hired. Like, people say, oh yeah, you just gotta be super kid, and then jobs will find you. But I know a lot of people who got into the industry just because they were in the right place in the right time. So
you want a huge example? Like, just look at all the juniors from art schools and art academies across, like, North America. Just as soon as they graduate, they get internships and everything, because they're geographically close to the studios.
Yeah. And
And
look at the Spanish people. Pablo got jobs, and I don't know. I think I heard it in a Lightbox podcast. If you're in Madrid and just walk around the streets, you get picked up by producers out of the blue. It's easy.
yeah, yeah, there's like an extra layer of challenge, that people from this area has to overcome, I guess. And
Yeah.
it's kind of weird. The more you go to the east, like at a certain point, like for example, people from Middle East, people from like I guess Eastern Europe as well, it has its own limitations. And yeah, I mean, you gotta work hard, I guess, to get those opportunities.
Right. Yeah,
And
you gotta work hard to create the lucky opportunity.
yeah,
I guess.
yeah, I guess just be consistent. That's the main thing. Just be consistent with the hard work, and you'll get opportunities. I mean, that sounds so cliche. I'm sorry, but
It's true.
yeah, it's true.
It's true.
And all right, so let me ask you something else. So, what is your main branch of design that you're focusing on? And tell us about your experience from the start of it until now. You mentioned that you wanted to be a game environment artist. You didn't even know what that was, but now you're a concept artist, and as in senior environment concept artist, say. And how, like, when did that thing with becoming an environment artist popped up? Like, basically, how has the journey been?
I mean, I always wanted to do like buildings, and like I was designing like squares. Like I'm the school, the art school I've been. This one first and 12th grade thing. I don't know how they call it in English. High school, I think, and it was like a specialized. School. Like you could specialize to different branches in art. You could specialize in architecture, whatever. And I specialized in architecture, and because like we could design buildings and environments and everything, I was always interested in that. And I like doing. I like doing interiors and exteriors and all this stuff. The other parts, like characters and stuff, I never really I tried them a couple times, but I never really felt the, maybe because I was bad at them. But like I was asked to do a lot of different things at Terraform now, which I never really did before. So I had a lot of firsts. Like I did creature. I did one creature. I designed one creature for this project, and I was never asked again. I wonder why. And I did characters too, but it's not something I would like enjoy while I'm doing it. And yeah, vehicles. I like those. I think those are like kind of part of the environment, like props. So I like to include everything into my specialty, which is not characters or creatures. I mean, right now we've done so many things that I think I have a grasp on a lot of subjects, how to approach by now.
So let's say you enter as like an environment artist, in a studio like, let's say, Terraform. Do you need to also know like anatomy and characters and stuff like that? Because at first I assume you have a generalist role, right?
No, no, we are specialized in environments. I mean, we were specifically picked up. Me and Pedro, we are there's another guy, senior guy in the team, and we're just senior environment guys. Like we're not supposed to do anything else. But from I think the Terraform is hired like as a concept art outsource studio, so that includes environments and characters and creatures and everything. But the good thing is that we have Pablo, who is an absolute demon of a concept artist who can do literally anything. So he's taking care of the characters and creatures and environments and everything that we basically cannot do. I mean, we were asked to do characters, and I was doing a couple, and they were all right. But I would be more more confident if in the game if someone else would do them. I was like, I was telling Pablo like, man, I can do it. I'll do it, but because I don't mind. But like maybe the outcome would be better if someone more more qualified would be doing this than me. And he was super cool with it because he said like, okay, it's totally fine. You were hired as a environment specialized artist, not a character guy, so it's totally fine if this is not your thing. So I'm glad that I'm not forced to do something that I'm not into that much.
All right. And how does your design process usually go anytime you want to start working on a new piece or a project? Like basically, what does the structure of your pipeline look like?
So I'm a very visual thinker. I have a very different approach. I think I mean not different approach from it, but I'm just thinking like how Pablo does things and how I do things, because I'm like out here trying to become the discount Pablo Dominguez, like the mini Pablo. I'm doing the sketches by. I have a lot of like napkin sketches, as you could call them. I have a bunch of um, sketchbooks full with just scribbles, because I like to put the pencil down and just see what I would like to have on the final piece. They don't look like anything, but they look like I'm thinking. They look like I'm thinking on paper. So I do the composition and the main design elements on paper. I try to figure them out somehow beforehand, and then I do 3D. I model everything, mostly like hard surface stuff and stuff like that in Blender. Then I material and render everything in Cinema 4D Octane and overpaint in Photoshop. That's usually the approach. If there is anything like soft surface and anything organic, I do either ZBrush or 3D Code.
All right. And all right, this is a kind of interesting question. Have you ever used anything from your dreams as inspirations for your works?
I don't I don't think so. I know that my architecture teacher used to say that she used to dream her houses that the clients asked her to design, but I never really had anything like that. No, I don't think so.
All right. And who are some of your favorite artists and designers that have inspired you the most?
Yeah, so right now I think it's pretty safe to say that my boss is doing the inspiration pretty much for me, because yeah, I'm just amazed by the sheer speed and efficiency of the guy. I mean, you don't really see the behind the scenes of these big artists, how they operate and how much work they do, and how fast and efficient they are. It's ridiculous. Like if I was half the speed and efficiency of my boss Pablo, is I don't know. That would be crazy. So Pablo Dominguez would be one. I think Finian is a great example. Obviously, Jama. I mean, these big artists who a lot of people look up to. Eitan Zana would be another one. I have a lot on my list. I used to look at their paintings and analyze the composition, and maybe even copy the composition in a different setup, because they are gods of composition. And I mean, the list goes on. I like to pick from a lot of artists. I don't like to just. I mean, I'm idolizing right now one single artist because I'm trying to catch up to him, but I like to pick from other artists too. What I like maybe Eitan Zana is better at composition than Pablo, then I'm picking from him compositions and stuff like that. Like tiny droplets of information from each artist.
All right. And any advice and tips for a good portfolio and resume for artists who want to get into the industry?
I would say that if you can afford it, like you have the time and the opportunity to just not care about being hired anytime soon, then do what you like the most, like do the work you like to do, and just keep doing it and posting it, and then you're gonna get hired for that specific thing that you're doing on your level. Because I think if you're trying to focus on a specific studio, I hear this a lot, that you should pick a studio and you should do work that they like, and you should try to cater your work in towards a specific studio or goal. I think this is in a bit harming, because you're kind of shaping your style and approach to like art in a way that you're not really, maybe not really, it's not really optimal for you. So I would say that, yeah, just focus on the stuff you like. Maybe if you like environments, just, or like specific environments, like maybe if you like Dark Souls, just do Dark Souls, and then eventually you're probably gonna get hired on the stuff you're doing, because the recruiter sees that what you're best at, and they gonna, usually they hire because of your qualities you already hit, like in the portfolio.
All right. And what are you working on right now that you can tell us about? What kind of project? 'Cause, I mean, of course, NDAs are always involved, but just any like what type of project is it? Anything you could share with us? Like basically, what stuff are you up to?
Oh man, I've been on the same project for almost. I mean, this summer it's gonna be 2 years, and I don't think I can say anything about it. The only thing I think I can say is just ridiculous, the amount of paintings and concepts we do. It's. I think there was summarizing 1 year. I don't even know if I can say it, but I'll just hold off, because yeah, the project is super huge, and it's a dream project, an absolute dream project to work on, and I'm not trying to get fired. But beforehand, I what I can say, I worked on the neocore game work. It was King Arthur Knight's Tale, and another game which they didn't release yet. So my whole portfolio is just NDA. But the good thing about it is that when the game comes out, which we're working on Terraform, it's like I'm gonna have material to post every day for at least 2 years. Another project which I worked before was Halo, the TV series, but I'm really not proud of the work I did there, so I'm not really wasting it.
So we talked about this NDAs, and we talked about also resume portfolios. Mix these two, and I have a new question. Does this meme, like, do you know this meme when someone says, "Could you explain this gap in your resume?" And there's some guy saying,
That's
"It's
NDA.
NDA." Does that work actually? Like, could you use that? Like, have you used it?
Um, it's not really. I mean, usually when you know when you know someone, like whenever you're included with like big clients and stuff, you may get away with showing some NDA stuff. When they sign, because they want to see more stuff from you, right? And you can't show nothing, and then I think you sign something that the future client, is not gonna say. And I think it's an NDA about NDA too. Or maybe you get away with talking to the CEO. I got away with talking to the CEO at Neocore Games. I didn't show anything from Terraform, but from Neocore, I got away with talking to the CEO, and he approved to show some stuff because the I think Darek Zabrodsky wanted to hire me back then, and he just wanted to see more. But it's a very sticky thing that you're like 90% of your portfolio is under NDA, and it's very painful because it's most of my I mean all of my good paintings is just I don't even know if I mean I'm hoping I'm gonna be able to share them, but not for the upcoming 2 or 3 years, unfortunately. I've been trying to do like personals here and there, but it's I'm not doing it that fast and studio work, so it's very slow paced.
All right, and now here's the thing. Let me ask you some, questions, in general, which I ask, people on the podcast. And one of the things that I'm always interested about asking is like, what are some of your favorite games and just, franchises that inspired you a lot, during your whole life? Basically, what are some of your obsessions, basically?
Well, I think it's safe to say that StarCraft played a big role. I mean, I was an absolute nerd about it. I played a shit ton of times the first Brood War and StarCraft 2 and all that. And I don't actually have too many like iconic games which I played like 6,000 hours. I don't do that, but I would mention, I think God of War is just really a different level of game. I absolutely love that game. And Elden Ring. These two are, I think, the for me would be the absolute top of the cream of the games. It's I played so much. This Elden Ring is just I think the art style is crazy. It's super good. Some people say that it's stylized and it doesn't look too AAA, but I think that's what makes it so appealing and nice. Yeah.
Uh, all right, and what area beside area you're working on right now, which you're interested to explore? And like right now, you're in visual arts, you're in concept artists. Like, is anything like non-arts related? Is there anything you want to pursue, like in the future?
Um, I'm I'm trying to learn how to play the guitar. I mean, I know a little bit already, and I'm trying to learn a bit more. Other than art, I think guitar is one thing, and another hobby would be, I think, which I'm gonna go a bit more deeper into it, would be scuba diving. We have like scuba diving club here at Budapest, and we go each year to like uh, this year we've been to Sudan, and we go each year any like in a different country to go diving. And yeah, I mean, if things like this don't happen too much in the future, like this Sudan situation, I think I got out of Sudan like a month ago before the civil war broke out.
Oh wait, I was kind of completely ignored about this. There's a civil war going on right now in Sudan.
Yeah, dude, there a
Holy,
bunch of people were shot, and there were even some Hungarian refugees coming out of there, and we were like 4 or 5 weeks out.
Hungarian refugees, like they escaped, like they left Hungary to go to Sudan as
Oh,
refugees.
I know, I think I missed the word. It's not refugees, but like
Expats, like
yeah, they're trying to flee Sudan, but no one's going
yeah.
there anymore because I think the last plane from London was turned back halfway because they it's just the situation is too hot. The boat I was on was saving the tourists out of Sudan to Egypt. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, it was a close situation, but
Damn. Oh, that's interesting.
It was fun. It was scuba diving is really something that like I'd like to pursue a bit more in the future. It's super beautiful. I'm preparing for the next Avatar. I'm hoping that Terraform will take me on the next water based. I mean, we already had a water based Avatar movie, but I'm hoping.
All right, and wait, that's actually kind of interesting. I haven't watched the second Avatar movie, but I probably should, someday. But
You should.
and the thing is, there's this kind of like whole meme and joke going on that the Avatar is kind of there's two Avatar franchises. They're all based on elements.
Oh
There's,
yeah,
and it's kind of getting weird if you think about it. Like, there's the Avatar: The Last Airbender, which actually there's upcoming movies, like the sequels to the franchise, which I'm actually surprised about for 2024 and 25. I've watched the animated series, Avatar.
I watched it as a kid. Yeah, yeah. That was a good series.
Yeah, and like it's based on air, fire, water, earth, and just elements in general. And this Avatar is like the way of the water, and there's going to be like I
Yeah,
don't know air and fire or something, I guess, in the future. And people are just drawing like comparisons, and it's just kind of like, yeah, that's one of those things. Imagine you come up with an original idea, and I'm just gonna name it Avatar. I'm just gonna have these elements, and you realize there's that actually like. By the way, I'm not sure which one came first, but it's just these coincidences happen. By the way,
yeah.
like
You just people usually just say, "Oh yeah, Avatar, the blue people." Oh yeah, the blue people.
oh, you mean the Smurfs? No, the other blue
No, no,
people. Yeah,
the other blue people. Yeah,
yeah, and like there's so many tropes in fiction that happen a lot, but it also important how it's executed. Like, for example, one thing that since I was child, this I've seen this trope a lot. Like, there's seven stones that when combined together will turn into something huge, like Infinity Stones in Marvel, the Chaos Emeralds in Sonic, the Belt of the Power, I think, in the Quest of Del Toro. I don't know if you read that book series, but it was a fantasy book series that I used to read a lot when I was a kid. And it's everywhere, like seven colors of the rainbow, seven stones or like gems or anything, and turn into like superpower or something. And like it's kind of weird when you think about it, and especially right now in 2020, you want to come up with the original idea for your story. It's really hard now because
yeah.
everything's been kind of done to some extent. So like, for example, let's take zombies, for example. Like, maybe that's a bad example, by the way, but you take the element and you try to use that as a tool to push the narrative of the plot of the story, not necessarily being about the becoming the whole main focus.
Right.
It's also, I guess, like, that's art of writing, I guess, to try to use these elements to construct a good story. So I think that's the whole thing right now. Yeah,
I I think like these repeating elements are fine. Like Avatar and zombies, and they like these movies all have something common in and of itself. But like if until you bring some new twist into the whole IP, I think you can get away with these general terms of like the zombies in the movie or something like that. I think if you have something extra to it, like the Last of Us, like this fungus approach, I think you're fine. Like I wouldn't say it's like a copyright issue or something like that.
no, I'm actually not saying this. I'm not one of those, people who say, no, this is not original. No. I'm actually not saying that. But what I'm trying to say is it's actually getting really hard to come up with new ideas.
Yeah.
And like right now, I was just thinking, imagine like they give you a task and say design or write a new speedster character, someone who's fast. And there's been so many different like variations of like a speedster character, different personalities. So you're kind of like, all right, so I need to study the previous people were like speedsters, and then you have to come up with something new and make it interesting. That's the whole hardest part. Make it interesting, make it pop
Right.
out. Like, yeah, I think that's why like the new franchises, sometimes they just go back to like old materials, which is fine. And yeah, like, I guess you have to like resort to taking drugs to come up with new ideas. That's a meta. No, yes, I think that's a meta. Yeah,
That's why we have all these messed up new series and stuff, or the new Cleopatra thing on Netflix too.
yeah, I haven't seen that. Yeah,
They'll yeah, I don't want to start the debate on that. I mean, coming up with new stuff always involved like bringing in something that's already been there and putting a twist on it. I think that's a good approach. But coming up with like fundamentally new stuff, like I don't even know when was the last time I saw like a movie that's done like something crazy new.
yeah. And well, all right, we've reached the final section and question of the podcast, which is called the time capsule. And as the name suggests, it's kind of obvious what it is, but I'm just going to explain a little. I'm just going to paint a picture for you, like, explain this scenario. Imagine, like, you have only a couple of minutes left on your spaceship before it runs out of oxygen. All right, that's kind of dark, but hear me out. And in those few minutes, you have this voice recorder that you can record your last words and thoughts into it, and it will be sent back to your home base or whatever. And in that moment, what do you have to say from one human to another human? And basically, your last words, for the future generations to hear if they came upon it. Those voice logs.
Oh man, that's a tough one. I don't know. I probably wouldn't take it seriously and would say something like "unplug AI from the art world" or something like that. But yeah, other than that, I would probably say something cliche like just follow your instincts and don't listen to people who say that you can't make it into the art industry. Just become a teacher. Don't listen to those. Yeah, that would be it. I don't. I was not good at these time capsule things. I'm sorry. Yeah, nothing comes in my mind. Just cliche.
All right. Like, that's actually one of the most common things I get from people is say, "Oh my god, I don't want to say anything," or they refrain from saying anything because they fear it might be cliche. But like, yeah, the subjects are the same, but to me, what's important is the way people say it. That's the whole point, because like the different wording is also really important in my opinion. For example, on this even the same subject,
Mm.
like I actually remember something on a YouTube video that someone says, I think it was Mark Manson's YouTube channel, and he was like, "Why do you think the whole motivation industry exists? Is because the message is same, just do the work, don't be lazy, and all this cliche stuff. But it's the reason like there's still new people who sell products or stuff on this whole subject. It's because the wording is different.
Right.
And aside, the thing I want to take away from this is that different wording is important because like it might give you like new perspective on the same thing that you've never figured it out. And everyone's brains
Mm.
are different. So
Yeah, if you hear David Goggins say the motivational speak is better than somebody else.
yeah, actually, now that I think about it, if I try a little bit harder, my voice is kind of scratchy like David Goggins now. Who's gonna carry the boat? No, not like that. But
I was gonna carry the boat. They don't know me, son.
yeah. Awesome, man. Awesome. All right. It was a real pleasure talking. And where can people contact you if they had any questions? Is your Instagram account okay?
Yeah, Instagram at the underscore Laszlo and our station. That's the two main places.
All right. For anyone who's stayed and listened to this whole podcast till now, please drop like a red apple emoji for me, so I know you've listened to it. And for those people, I have a surprise. I'm gonna reveal and let you in on who's gonna be the next guest, which I'm going to record in 2 hours. Is Olha Kovton, an artist from Ukraine. So yeah, just gonna give. She's a hand painting texture artist. She does amazing work. So next episode, which will be episode 225, will be her. And as always, if there's any comments, suggestions, or critiques, leave them down in the comment section down below. And if you like my voice and you want me to read audiobooks with this, you can, I haven't put any channels of support, but if there was enough demands, I might do it. And for that, I actually need to catch colds a lot. So it's going to take a toll on my health because I have a cold. That's hence why my voice is like that right now. And with that being said, take care everyone and stay safe. And until next episode, see ya.
Cheers.